Hello, sports fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 3 in the league where they play for pay. And let's get right to it. Week number 3 already. Let's start with game number 1. Let's go to the Big D in Dallas, Jerry's World, with the Dallas Cowboys at -21 over the Miami Dolphins. Dallas up to 2-0, beat Washington. The Dolphins 0-2 lost to New England, and the Dolphins are completely embarrassing. Unprofessional football here going on by the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are one of the most recognizable teams in the NFL. You go anywhere in the world, people know the Dolphins, and this is what they're laying down week after week. They lose their first 2 home games 59-10 and 43-0. That's embarrassing. That's not professional football. They have traded everybody away. They have completely given up on everything. They want that number 1 pick. What an embarrassment by the Dolphins. And this was a team that was competitive the last few years. This was a team that made it to the playoffs not too long ago. So what in the world is going on here with the Dolphins? This is embarrassing. It's one thing to lose, 31-17. It's another thing to lose 59-10 and 43-0 in your building. That's not fair to the fans. That's embarrassing, deplorable football by the Miami Dolphins. I mean, what a terrible job by them. Dallas is favored by 21 in this game. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking the Dolphins if the spread was 40, and I'm not kidding. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking the Dolphins getting 30.5. That's how pathetic they've been, and I see no hope for them. To me, if they win 1 game, it's going to be a miracle the way they've played the first 2 weeks, and they have no talent. They have traded basically everyone away. They've basically given up on the season. They want that number 1 pick. You heard it before the year. The rumors were they were tanking. The front office said, oh, no, we're not tanking. We're not tanking. Well, to me, it looks like not only are they tanking, but they're just plain awful. This is embarrassing. Not good for the league at all. You have a team here that's basically not competitive. Take Dallas here. I would lay the 21. If you want to use the Dallas in like a super teaser, you get a lot of points. I can understand that. Dallas will pick their score in this game. This game will be over early in the second quarter. Miami Dolphins, deplorable what they're doing. And as far as Dallas, they're a real contender this year. They're one of the better teams in the NFC. Dallas all the way in this game. How about them Cowboys? Pick number 2. Let's go up to Foxborough in New England with the New England Patriots at -18 against the New York Jets. Patriots just keep on keeping on. They're 2-0, blew out Miami. I mean, the Patriots, it's amazing. Every single year what they're doing. They lose Gronkowski in the offseason. Hasn't mattered at all. Brady is ageless. Now the defense looks really good. I mean, the beginning of last year, the Patriot defense was awful. Now it looks really, really good. Now they add Antonio Brown. I mean, he's going to be on his best behavior with New England. Already had a touchdown reception last week. So the Patriots keep getting better and better, keep plugging guys in. They do not miss a step. The Jets, well, same old Jets. 0-2, lost to Cleveland. Darnold still out with the mononucleosis. Simeon out for the year. Now they're down to their 3rd-string quarterback. I mean, they couldn't move the ball from here to there against Cleveland. What are they going to do against New England? You got to go with New England here. Again, maybe a super teaser where you get all those kind of points. The spread's 18. I mean, this is crazy. 18 here, 21 with the Dallas game. This is crazy. You got to use these games in like super teasers, that kind of stuff, because laying this kind of amount of points is crazy. 18 points. But you can't have any confidence in the Jets. You just can't. I mean, the Jets may score 3 points in this game. So to me, if you're going to play this game, play New England in one of those super teasers where you get all these kind of points and you can get the spread kind of down there. You got to think New England's going to get through. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Let's go to the Dome in Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings are -8 against the Oakland Raiders with Chucky and Darth Vader. The Grim Reaper. The guy in the gorilla costume. and all those wacky fans in Oakland. Minnesota 1-1, lost to Green Bay. Cousins with the awful interception towards the end of that game where Minnesota had a chance to win the game, and Cousins just threw a terrible pass on first down. The end zone got picked off. Green Bay hangs on and win. And again, this is Minnesota's problem. Cousins is pretty good, but he's not great. He's not an elite quarterback, and he's going to burn you in a big spot. And Minnesota can never seem to get past Green Bay. They can never seem to go to Lambeau and beat Green Bay. I mean, my goodness, that was a terrible pick by Cousins at the end of that game. And he is going to kill Minnesota in a big spot. He is not an elite quarterback. I would say he's pretty good, maybe. He's not an elite quarterback. So that puts so much pressure on the Minnesota defense to kind of win the game every week. So Cousins, bad pick there. Oakland, they're 1-1, lost to Kansas City. Remember, Oakland had won their first game. They were winning 10-0. Then they turned into a pumpkin. And no surprise they lost to Kansas City. That's nothing bad about that. By the way, I was talking about Antonio Brown before. What he did to the Raiders was absolutely deplorable. The way he destroyed the Raiders with all that kind of nonsense that he was talking. What a terrible job by Antonio Brown. It was bad enough what Brown did with the Steelers, but what he did with the Raiders was downright deplorable. And he got what he wanted. He wanted to go to New England all along, but how he used Oakland and he used social media and what he did to the Raiders, that was deplorable by Antonio Brown. So as far as this game, Minnesota at home, 8 over Oakland in Minnesota. This is a perfect two-team teaser game. Move the line down to 2 in a two-team teaser and take the Vikings. I don't think Oakland is good enough to go into Minnesota and that dome and beat the Vikings, especially with the Vikings coming off a loss. The Vikings are going to be angry. They lost to Green Bay again. Cousins threw a bad pick. They're going to come home and they're going to be angry. I don't see the Raiders going into Minnesota and winning. So if you don't like the 8, move it down to 2. You got to think the Vikings are going to win by 3. That's the way to play that game. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. The Green Bay Packers, a -8 against the Denver Broncos. Really nice job by Green Bay so far this year. 2-0, beat Minnesota. The defense looks so much improved this year. We know Rodgers is always going to give them a shot. Well, we know they're going to find a way to get points with Rodgers. Can the defense make enough stops? That's what all the Packer fans had a problem with McCarthy all these years. He never changed the defense, and it was always about the defense, and the defense always let him down. Well, the defense now through 2 weeks has played very well. They held the Bears to 3 points. They held the Vikings to under 20 points. The Green Bay defense has been surprisingly good so far. If they get that kind of defense, they will be a contender because you know Rodgers will give them a chance. So great job by the Packers so far this year. Denver, 0-2, lost a tough game to Chicago where they give up the completion with a second left, then the long field goal. I thought they got a bad break on the Chubb roughing the passer. I did not think that was roughing the passer. That gave Chicago 15 extra yards. Tough loss for Denver. Denver is 0-2 now. I don't know about Denver. And I certainly don't love them on the road. Flacco is so spotty. Again, this to me is another perfect two-team teaser game. The spread's 8. You love moving that down to 2. You got to think Green Bay at home is going to have enough to shut down Denver. Denver has done pretty much nothing 2 weeks, for 2 weeks on offense. They haven't exactly lit it up. And now you got the Packers who have been stingy on defense. You got to think the Packers are going to get through here at home. So if you don't like the 8, move it down to 2. You got to like Green Bay there. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5. Let's go out to Los Angeles. The StubHub Center with the LA Chargers, a -3 against the Houston Texans. Chargers 1-1, lost to Detroit. Texans 1-1, held on and beat Jacksonville for dear life. Again, this game has whoever has the ball last wins. To me, whoever has the ball last, whether it be Rivers or Watson on the other side, is going to win this game. To me, this is a close game, could go either way. So to me, the spread's 3. I move it to 9 and take the Texans because I think the game is a field goal game either way. I think it's going right down to the wire. Whoever gets the ball last is going to kick that game-winning field goal. So I will take the Texans plus 9 and feel very comfortable about that. Both of these teams have played close games the first couple of weeks. They usually always are in crazy games, both of these teams. So I like Houston there, plus 9. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go out to San Francisco, where the San Francisco 49ers are minus 7 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Niners, as I told you in the beginning of the year, would be a surprise team, would be much improved. Garoppolo's healthy now. The defense is playing well. They bombed Cincinnati in Cincinnati. And then on the other side, you got the Steelers where it's all gone wrong. Roethlisberger out for the year. Running back banged up. Now the Steelers traded away their number 1 pick. I know the safety they got from the Dolphins is good, but would I have traded a number 1 pick this year when the Steelers could have a terrible record? Maybe you get that next franchise quarterback. I know they like this backup quarterback that got in the game last week. I'm not sold on him either. Steelers got all sorts of problems. They lose to Seattle at home last week. The defense hasn't played well in the first 2 weeks. The Steelers got all sorts of issues. Again, and I'm repeating myself, the spread 7. Perfect 2-team teaser game. You move the line down to 1 and you take the Niners. You can't, like Pittsburgh, to go on the road with the backup quarterback the way they've played and beat a Niner team that has looked really good the last 2 weeks and has played really well on defense, and this is their home opener. You gotta like the Niners here. Times are a-changing. Niners going up, Steelers going down. Niners is pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go up to Buffalo. Whoa, Buffalo. Whoa, Buffalo. Hey. With the Buffalo Bills are minus 6 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals 0-2. Played a good game in Seattle week 1. Fell flatter on their face in week 2 against the Niners. So the Bengals are 0-2. Buffalo 2-0. Swept New York. Beat the Jets. Then they beat the Giants. Buffalo doing a nice job. And now Buffalo has their home opener as well. Again, it's going to be a theme here. The spread is 6. What do you think I'm going to say? Perfect 2-team teaser game. You move the line down to even. You take the Bills. The Bills are hot. Their Bills are home. They've won 2 in a row. They're playing a Bengal team that's 0-2. You know, got all sorts of injuries. You got to like the Bills here. You can't like Cincinnati after what you saw last week. I go with Buffalo. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Go to Indianapolis, Indiana. The Indianapolis Colts are minus 2.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Indianapolis 1-1, win on the road and beat Tennessee with Brissett. Give the Colts credit, and I've been knocking the Colts ever since Luck retired. I said they're going to have a long year. Give the Colts credit. They battled in week 1 against the Chargers, got that game in overtime before losing. They battled last week in Tennessee and held on and won. Brissett's doing a nice job. They're battling. They're gritty. Give the Colts all sorts of credit. 1-1. They're really battling. Atlanta 1-1. They beat Philadelphia. They really needed that game. Atlanta couldn't go 0-2 after the disastrous year last year. Good, solid home win for the Falcons. I'm going to move the line to 8.5 and take Atlanta. I think, again, this game could go either way. I think this game is going to go right down to the end. I can't see either one of these teams blowing each other out. I am going to take 8.5 with Atlanta and feel very comfortable that that game is under a touchdown, probably under 3 points. I can see this being a 1-point game. I like the Falcons there, plus 8.5. Pick number 9, let's go to the desert in Arizona. With Carolina is minus 2.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals 1-1, lost to Baltimore last week, but hung in the game. Carolina 0-2, lost to Tampa Bay in just a horrific way on Thursday Night Football. First of all, that was a sloppy game, as all Thursday night games are. Neither team could pick up a third down. I don't know what Carolina's doing at the end of the game. They have like 4th and a foot. You got Cam Newton. You're running some trick gadget play where you get stuffed. Now all of a sudden Cam Newton can't fall forward, for a yard. A couple of years ago, they were 15-1 and Newton's running wild, running over people. Now he can't fall forward for a half yard. Oh, Carolina's going the wrong way too. Don't like what I see from them. I'm going to move the line to 8.5 and take Arizona. I think this is an ugly, messy, sloppy game. And I think Arizona's going to be in a lot of those type of games this year. Same thing with Carolina. Cam Newton is not the same quarterback anymore. He looks like a stiff wooden Indian out there. He can't move from here to there. He's all banged up. Just a messy, ugly game. This has like 2019 written all over it. I'll take Arizona plus 8.5. That's pick number 9. Pick number 10, let's go out to Seattle, the madhouse in Seattle with those great fans out there with the Seattle Seahawks are minus 4.5 against the New Orleans Saints. Seattle 2-0 beat Pittsburgh. Good job on them winning on the road. I know Pittsburgh lost their quarterback, but give Seattle credit. They go on the road and get the win. New Orleans 1-1 lost to the Rams, but more importantly, they lose Breeze for 6 weeks. Bridgewater came in the game, and he looked absolutely awful. And the Saints had 5 billion penalties. I couldn't even watch that game after a while. Every time I put that game on, flag on the Saints, flag on the Saints, flag on the Saints, flag on the Saints, flag on the Saints. Couldn't take it anymore. Bridgewater was awful. We'll see if they go with Bridgewater or Hill this week. The same coach keeps talking about Hill being Steve Young. Well, why didn't you put him in the game last week? Why are you putting Teddy Ballgame Bridgewater in? He didn't do anything. So if Hill is the next Steve Young, and we don't know about that, but if he is, why is he not playing, and why haven't you named him the starter? I mean, is Teddy Bridgewater that good? Until I see otherwise, I am going to go Seattle here, money line, throw out the spread, make the line even. New Orleans has to prove to me that with Bridgewater or Hill, they can win a game on the road against a good team in a hostile environment. Last week, the Saints couldn't even score a touchdown when Breeze got out. So we'll see if they can actually win a game. I will take Seattle in the money line there. That is pick number 10. Pick number 11, let's go down to Tampa Bay, where the Tampa Bay Bucks are minus 6.5 against the New York Giants. Giants 0-2 lost to the Bills. Eli Manning out, the new young quarterback from Duke in. It's time. I mean, Eli's an old elephant. You knew it was just a matter of time. The Giants have looked pathetic the first 2 weeks. They looked pathetic last year. It has to happen. Goodbye, Eli. Good night. Go retire. Go get an announcing job or something. We've seen enough of him. And he's done some great things with the Giants, won a couple Super Bowls. The time is now to move on. Go with the young Duke quarterback. We'll see how he is. Tampa Bay 1-1. They beat Carolina. That was a nice win by Tampa Bay. They held on. They made the big defensive play at the end. Winston avoided the key turnovers. That's the thing with Tampa Bay. Can Winston avoid those turnovers? When he does, Tampa Bay plays well. When he starts throwing the ball all over the field, it becomes messy. To me, and I don't love this game, I would move the line down to pick them in a 2-team teaser and take Tampa Bay. I don't know what you're going to get from the Giants. They have an awful team. They're throwing the new quarterback in. They're on the road. No idea what you're going to get from them. Tampa's coming off a win. Extra days to prepare. I got to think Tampa has enough to beat the New York Giants. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. I believe this is the Monday night game. With all my rowdy friends are here on Monday night. I think this is the Monday night game. The Chicago Bears are minus 4.5 against the Washington Redskins. Washington 0-2 lost to Dallas. It's getting late early for Washington. They better come up with a performance this week. Chicago 1-1, pulled out the game against Denver. Listen, you know Chicago's defense is awesome. Their offense has to do more. You cannot put all this pressure on your defense. You cannot do it. I mean, yeah, if you're the Steel Curtain Steelers, you're the 85 Bears, you can do it. And I know the Chicago Bear defense is good, but you're asking a lot when you can't score any amount of points. I mean, they were lucky to pull this game out, Chicago. So they're 1-1. Redskins 0-2. I'm going to move the line to 10.5 and take Washington. They're home Monday night. Washington's going to be desperate. The Bears haven't broken 20 points this year. Washington hasn't lost by more than 10 points this year. So I feel safe going with Washington plus 10.5 at home on Monday night. I'm not saying they're going to win the game. I'll say they'll keep it close. I'll say the Bear offense continues to stumble. They're not going to score that many points. So I think Washington hangs in, gets under the 10.5. That's pick number 12. Pick number 13, let's go to the dog pound in Cleveland. Love those fans in Cleveland. For the LA Rams, a -3 against the Cleveland Browns. Browns stuffed the Jets on Monday Night Football. Browns 1-1. Beckham made some nice plays. The Jets, they were terrible, so I don't know how much you take away from that game. Rams 2-0 beat the Saints. Again, I don't know how much you take away from that. The Saints lost Breeze, but you got to think the Rams are going to be one of the best teams in football. This is a strange game because most of the time I love taking those home teams that are underdogs and pushing the spread up in a 2-team teaser. So you could talk me into Cleveland +9. But I think the Rams are just better. So if I was to play this game, and this wouldn't be my top plays of the week, I think the Rams are going to win. I'd play the Rams in a money line and say they get the job done. I think the Rams are just too good for Cleveland. Like I said, you could talk me into Cleveland +9, but if you ask me who was going to win, I'd go Rams. If I had to pick the game, I'll probably stay away from that one, though. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14, let's go to Philadelphia, where the Philadelphia Eagles are -7 against the Detroit Lions. The Lions 1-0-1. Nice win against the Chargers. Eagles lost to Atlanta. They're 1-1. This is a very interesting game, a very strange game. I could actually see you win in a couple ways with this game. Sometimes when you go teaser, no matter which way you go, it falls right in between that. That could be the case here. I could see you liking Philadelphia -1 in a two-team teaser, because I think Philadelphia at home probably is a little better, probably would get the win. But I could also see you going -13 and taking Detroit. I think it's going to fall right in the middle, where you win no matter which way you go in the teaser. If you take Philly -1, I think you're going to win. I think if you go +13 with Detroit, I think you're going to win. Now, if you ask me, you pin me down, which way would I go? Listen, you know I never trust Detroit, especially on the road. And I know they're 1-0-1. They almost coughed up the game in Arizona in week 1. They held on last week. I would think Philadelphia at home would get through. So if I had to go one way or the other, -1, I think Philadelphia gets the job done. Very tricky game, that game, but that's how I would play that one. That's pick number 14. Pick number 15, let's go to Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs are -6.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore, like I said, 2-0 beat Arizona. Chiefs 2-0 beat Oakland. By the way, I made a mistake last week when I first got on the air here with you. I thought that game was in Kansas City last week. Turns out it was in Oakland. I realized it after the fact. I do apologize for that. You know, one of the sites I went on had Kansas City in capital letters, so I thought they were the home team. I realized it later on. Didn't factor into the game. Kansas City still won comfortably, but I do apologize for that. So Kansas City 2-0, beat Oakland last week. Even without Hill, Kansas City has a ton of firepower. You know they could score points at will. They are just an offensive machine, Kansas City. I mean, they go up and down the field sometimes. And the Raiders, for the first quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, did a pretty good job on defense. But the second quarter, Kansas City scored 28 points. They're so explosive. Now they're home. They're back home here. I mean, very, very tough to win in this building. Kansas City 6.5 against Baltimore. Baltimore is a very tough team. Do a great job with personnel. Gritty, gutty. Much like the last game. This game could fall either way. I could see you moving it to even and taking the Chiefs. I could see you taking Baltimore +12.5. And like the last game, if you asked me, Mike, which way, if you had to go, which way, I would say the Chiefs at home pull it out. But it's not one of my favorite games. To me, this is a game you watch and you don't play. This is one of the must-watch games of the weekend. This is a great game. Two good teams. I like the matchup. To me, I sit back and I enjoy this game. Could fall either way in the teaser. If I had to pick, I'd say Kansas City slips through, but I could see it falling either way. Very tough game. That's pick number 15. And pick number 16, this is a throw-out. I'm going to throw out most of the Thursday night games. I don't like Thursday night football, and I know I'm being repetitive. The quality of play is awful. You saw that last week. No one could pick up a third down. It's choppy. It's sloppy. The players are playing on only a couple days rest. It's bad football. They should do away with it. Like I said, keep the 2 Thanksgiving games in Dallas and Detroit. Give those teams a little extra rest before and go that way. The rest of these games can go. The players and coaches hate these games. They're going to vote it out in the next collective bargaining agreement. They're not going to keep this up. It's terrible football. Tennessee -1.5 at Jacksonville. And these teams and that division in general is hard to pick. I mentioned the Colts before. They're very hard to pick because they have the backup quarterback playing. Houston has been in 2 games that came right down to the end. And these 2 teams are impossible to pick. Jacksonville's 0-2, lost to Houston, almost pulled the game out, got stopped on the 2-point conversion at the end. They're playing their backup quarterback. Now the corner Ramsey wants a trade. I mean, they got all sorts of issues, Jacksonville. Tennessee, one of the most impossible teams to ever pick. They're 1-1, lost to the Colts at home after having the big week in Cleveland week 1. Mariota's up and down. Tennessee looks great, then they look bad, they look bad, they look great. They're up and down, up and down. That whole division is weird. I am throwing this game out completely. If you ask me who I thought was better, I'd say Tennessee's better, but they're so flaky, I can't trust them. You want to take Jacksonville 7.5 in a teaser? I could see that. You get 7.5, you get the home field, but you got Jacksonville's quarterback. Now you got the cornerback that's requesting a trade. Is he going to play? Is he going to be a distraction? All sorts of issues here. To me, this is a throwout. Do away with Thursday Night Football. It's getting stale. It's getting lame. The NFL has Thursday Night Football because they're greedy. They're greedy. They want to control another day of the week. They control Sunday. They control Sunday night. They control Monday. Now let's control Thursday. Let's put games in London. Let's put games on the moon. Let's put games in Alaska. The NFL is just being greedy now with Thursday Night Football. Do away with it because the quality of play is poor. And you see it week after week, and you saw it last week. Both of those teams, Carolina and Tampa Bay, played a terrible game. Couldn't convert a third down. It was ugly, messy football. Then you had the delays because of the weather. Do away with Thursday Night Football. I do not need Thursday Night Football. I watch football all day Sunday. I watch it Sunday night, and I watch it Monday. I watch college football on Saturday. I do not need NFL football on Thursday, just like I don't need college football on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I know I'm being repetitive. So there you go. Those are my picks for week 3. I will be with you guys Tuesday. I know we've been getting a late start the first 3 weeks. Next week, we're going to be back to our regular Tuesday schedule for the rest of the year. I'm going to be in a new studio, so everything is going to be set. I'll open up the comments section in October. I'll tell you where to donate to the show in October. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. So thanks as always for the support. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Enjoy the games. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll talk to you guys Tuesday. Take care.